All right, we'll continue on with Jeff Gordon, driver of the number 24 Exalta Coating Systems Chevrolet. Jeff is currently 11th in points, has a track record 6 wins here at Pocono, including the most recent race here last August. He's won 2 of the last 4 Pocono races. And Jeff, can you just open up talking about coming into Pocono and your approach to this weekend?
I've always loved this racetrack and continue to love it. It's a very challenging racetrack, obviously, with the 3 unique corners. And, with this new car, certainly a few unknowns, and anxious to get out there on the track to see what the pace is going to be and what the characteristics, car, track, all those things are going to be, so we can start tuning on it for the race. Doesn't look like we're going to be tuning on it for qualifying. And certainly this has been a great track for us over the years, and continues to be even in recent years. When I look at our last couple seasons and the tracks where we've gone and actually have run really well and haven't gotten the wins versus some that we've run really well and have gotten the wins. And I think of Pocono, and it's just one of those tracks where when maybe we've had some misfortune and things not go our way, this has been one where things have gone our way. So hopefully that continues.
All right, we'll go ahead and open up to questions for Jeff. Please start with your name and affiliation. Wait for the wireless mic. We'll start on this side of the room over here.
Jeff, talk about the safety features that Pocono put in with the new pave and everything for last year. How much that affected your win? And by the way, the affiliate is the Focus out of Broadheadsville at the bottom of the mountain.
Well, I think a repave always gives opportunities for tracks to evaluate their surface, their pit road, safety features, and all those types of things. And I'm only going off of memory of the last time that I was here. I'd have to kind of do another sort of walk around or laps to evaluate where everything is. But I know that when I left here the last time, I didn't hit anything, and that was a good thing. And I don't remember anybody that did that had issues. So I know that. I mean, every track, their intentions are to make the best experience for the drivers, competitors, the fans, and the safest environment. And Pocono certainly has stepped that up in a big way over recent years. And even though we still maybe complain or point out certain issues at different tracks, we always know that their intentions are certainly the right thing. And Pocono, I think for a few years there we're a little bit behind, and now I feel like they're one of the leading ones because of the repave. It gave them that opportunity.
We'll go Candace, and then over on this side of the room to Bob.
So, Jeff, it's Candace Smith, drafting the circuits. It is your 11th in points. A win here would, again, like in August last year, put you at least in that wild card. I know it's a little soon. It's not August, it's June. But talk to us about what it is about Pocono that you're going to try and hopefully get that win. The 10 fans wanting the $10,000, that would be a neat story, of course, from Brandon Igdalski and the track president. But,
Yeah, I mean, we go in every race trying to win. We're further up in points at this point this year than we were last year, and I don't feel like we've had a terrific season. Right. We've certainly have had our challenges. So it's sort of refreshing to come to a place that we know we can win at. And there's a lot of different ways to win at this track. Sometimes the fastest car doesn't always win. So you gotta play the pit strategy right, fuel mileage, try to tune the car to the conditions the best you can, and hopefully you come out of here on top. And we've seen that a lot at this track over the years. It just you never give up, and anything's possible. And we saw that with Joey here, we saw it. We've seen it with many different drivers. Sometimes the fastest car does win, and that's our goal going in, is to try to create that. And we look forward to those challenges and coming out of here. Even though we've been struggling along the way, so have some of the other guys that we've been battling with in points. So we can kind of keep flip-flopping, going back and forth, and find ourselves in 11th after a good, strong finish at Dover. And, we want to get some momentum and consistency going.
Real quickly, last August, your family was here, the entire family, and that was something you were real happy about. Are they with you this weekend?
They're not. My wife's going to be here, but the kids are not going to be with us on Sunday. So, they'll be happy that we win either way. But we certainly love having them for a victory, and there'll be a lot of races this year, and hopefully we can get some wins. Listen, right now we just want to get a win, so that's the most important thing. But I love having them, with me. I mean, to me, this race and Homestead, especially Homestead, just because this one we kind of lucked into it with the rain, where Homestead we went out and really had to battle and worked for it, and it was, and plus because of the rain here, we were sort of in a makeshift victory lane, and everybody was soaking wet. Where at Homestead, we just really were able to relax and enjoy that moment with the kids there, and it was awesome.
Also, for those not aware of what Candace was referencing, track president Brandon Godalski has predicted Jeff to win on Sunday, and if Jeff does win, he'll be giving away $10,000 to 10 different fans. So we'll move on to Bob.
I knew just enough about it to get myself in trouble if I commented, so thank you for clarifying it.
No pressure.
No.
Bob Hawker, Sporting News. With the announcement yesterday of Exalta extending through 2016, does that mean we should pencil you in through 2016, that you'll keep racing through then, or are you more, or is that a little bit too far ahead to look?
Can you pencil any driver in, for every weekend, for every year? I feel like the same things apply. Nothing's changed for me. We're still competitive and still being challenged and have goals, and my my back is hanging in there. We've got sponsorship, which is a positive thing for our team and the sport. We're very excited about Exalta. This has been a real tricky type of year for them, and transition for them internally as well as for us as a team, because we've known the name of the company. We've maybe seen some of the logos, but they're a worldwide company, and we have to be patient with all that. And because of the transition and the sale of how DuPont went about it, this was a season that was sort of guaranteed. The next seasons ahead were not guaranteed, and so it's pretty exciting to know that they have that interest and have been working with Hendrick to sign an extension. I want to race for a long time, but I can't say how long that is going to be at this time.
All right, we're going to go Al, Ryan McGee, and then Nate.
Hi, Jeff. Al Pearson, Water Week. Not that it's ever happened to you, because I doubt it ever has, but a driver whose career may be stalled a little bit, does it help any for an owner to say, you've got to do better or else? Or do most drivers give all they've got with what they've got, regardless of their contract situation?
Well, other than the sponsorship side of that, drivers usually know before the owners know of where they stand with the team and what kind of pressure is on them to perform. Sometimes the owner is ahead of the game when they're negotiating and talking to a sponsor, and the sponsor is saying, what are the driver options out there? And that owner might not necessarily be passing that along to their current driver. I mean, I think we're all under enough pressure and are driven by the competition to go out there and perform in such a way that we don't need any outside encouragement or pressure from sponsors or team owners. And so I've never been in that position. I've always been fortunate to be in the position where the sponsors and the team owner are always asking me, what can we do, to help? How are things? Where are the strengths and weaknesses within the team? And what do you need so we can go out there and step up our performance? And that's always been the case, whether we were winning or whether we weren't winning. So, but I know that's a tough position to be in as a driver, because I can imagine and put myself in that position. I've been in that position prior to the Cup Series. I've talked about this before. Getting fired from a ride is one of the best things that ever happened to me, because it kind of laid my career path. But it was a hard thing to go through, to know that somebody didn't want me behind the wheel of the car because I wasn't getting the job done. And they were right. I was tearing up a lot of stuff, and things weren't going very well. And that's also the case. Sometimes it's just not meant to be. Sometimes it's just a combination. When was that? That was I was driving the 23S McBride Schaff car in the All-Star Series. Sprint cars, all dirt sprint car stuff. But it was my first big opportunity to drive for a fully funded, real operation in sprint cars. And it didn't go very well. I got fired, and then it went really well right after that for some reason.
We'll go to Ryan in the back there.
Ryan McGee, ESPN. Jeff, you mentioned the other guys around you and flip-flopping in points. At this stage in the season, or maybe all year, how much time do you spend looking at the guys around you and the years that they're having and the tracks that are coming up, that kind of analysis of where guys are around you in the points?
I would say I spend a little bit of time looking through the field and evaluating how we're running, what our potential is. Mainly, and I feel like it's been the case for me most of the time, is I put a lot more focus on what we're doing and what we're capable of doing than I do the rest of the competition. But you have to evaluate what other guys are doing and how well they're running and what kind of strength that they have. I think Martin Truex Jr. certainly comes to mind. Like last week at Dover, we know that he runs well there. Their team, is a strong team, and they've had some good runs this year. So you're looking at, how high if we perform better than we have been and get some consistency, how high up in the points can we get, and who are we capable of kind of outrunning on a regular basis, as well as who's behind us and has potential to, run us down. But, I would say much more of our focus is doing our job. And I think if we do it to what we're capable of doing, it doesn't really matter what the other guys are doing as far as making the chase. When you talk about winning the championship, it gets a little bit different.
Nate Ryan, USA Today Sports. Jeff, kind of following up on that, knowing that I know you're primarily focused on yourself and that there's still a good chance you could make the top 10, but looking at the wildcard battle this year, there's you, there's Martin Truex Jr., there's Kurt Busch, there's Joey Logano, there's Denny Hamlin. There's a lot of guys who are in that outside the top 10 who just maybe could get in with a win. And then you've got Denny, who's not just in need of a win, but he's I guess 74 points out of 20th with 13 races to go. Is he still somebody you look at who could be a wild card contender? Can he make up that gap? And do you have any thoughts with Stewart getting a win last week at Dover on who else besides yourself might be wild card contender?
Yeah, first, I guess with Denny, you can't count them out. Gibbs is running so good right now. He's been running good. That they can strike and win at any time. Pocono comes to mind. It's a very strong track for him. And I think it's going to take a combination of wins and consistency for him just to get inside the top 20. If he gets inside the top 20, chances are he's probably going to be a wild card. Because I think to get in the top 20, he's going to have to win. So then you take Tony, and the thing that to me is so encouraging about Tony is they've not had a very good year. They haven't run very well, and then they win at Dover. So from our standpoint and trying to relate, we've not had the best of years up to this point. But I think we're just as capable as they are of winning races. So, that's why you never give up, you never stop working, and this is a sport that anything can happen at any time, and so I think that run and that finish that Tony had is very encouraging, for us, and a great motivator. We've had top threes, 2 out of the last 3 races. That's also encouraging to us as well. So, I'm feeling pretty good about things right now. I mean, as up and down as it's been for us, the fact that we're even 11th in points, I think that tells me not only can we make it in the top 10, but I think we have the ability to be in a wild card and getting some wins in there.
Do we have any other questions for Jeff? Ald.
Jeff, Al Pierce, one question about last weekend. From where you sat in your race car, was the restart as convoluted from where you were as it looked to the rest of us? Did Jimmy really badly jump him, or did you think, hey, that's a pretty good move, or did you think they were going to get him?
Well, from inside the car, I couldn't tell. I just knew that we started to take off, and then all of a sudden we were stacking up. And now looking back on the video, that was the 15 started to go with Jimmy, and then I think he checked up, and then that stacked us up pretty bad. So, from inside the car, I was just trying to figure out how not to wreck by the time we got to turn 1. If I look at the video, it was a combination. I think Jimmy was really right there on that edge of anticipation and getting all that he could on that restart. And I think Juan did a great job at. I've been watching NBA Finals lately and watching the flops. That was as good a flop as it gets. And listen, the leader has, to me, that ability and that position to do that, right? I mean, it's his job to lead you to the green, to get the best start that he can, and if he feels like somebody else is going to try to take advantage of that situation or get a little bit of a run on him, he can play that card, but it's also at the discretion of NASCAR making a judgment call. I think if the 15 car kept going and passed the 42, I don't think they would have called Jimmy. I think they would have thought something happened to the 42. But because the 15 checked up to not pass the 42, it just made Jimmy's lead look so absurd, Thank you.
We're going to wrap up with Mike.
Mike Hembry, USA Today Sports. Jeff, this sport has had rivalries through most of its history, I guess some more intense than others, and it looks like we might be developing a few more. How important is that?
I hope so. I love rivalries.
How important is that week to week to have a couple of guys, or maybe 2 or 3 sets of a couple of guys kind of having a back and forth?
Oh, I think it's fantastic, right? Because to me, we can have the best races that there are out there, and without some kind of drama or other storyline, it doesn't seem like the sport gets the attention that I think it deserves. And having, unless we're 4 wide at the finish line, I don't think that it's enough. I think our racing has been great this year. We've got the new car, and when I say racing, it's not always the battle of the cars going back and forth. It's pit strategy, it's guys taking risks on no tires and 4 tires and fuel and side-by-side racing and finding different grooves, guys that can come from the back to the front. And I think we've kind of seen a mixture of all of those things. But again, I think that in order, at this day and age, with social media, with all the different type of entertainment that's out there, it needs the full gamut of entertainment, which to me is rivalries and sparks flying and things outside the norm of of sports. And so I think that's why I say rivalries are great, because that creates that spark and gets people's emotions going and shows the rawness and intensity of what really goes on. And, sometimes we hold that back because, there are risks involved with that. And whether it be a penalty, whether it be, being judged, a lot of, things that could happen. And to me, it's refreshing, exciting to see. I don't like being a part of it. I prefer to be watching it and being on the outside, but it's highly entertaining. And it certainly creates a lot of buzz.